Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part 7 of the Dragon 1/35th scale Sdkfz 184 Elephant project. Welcome back, as I say, and in the last episode I finished steps 18 through 22, and it was a little bit longer than usual, even long for my usual lengthy, long-winded videos, but seems to be what most people want. Those who don't can skip them, but the ones who like them, you should be digging that. But in this episode, I'll talk a little bit about what we got completed last time and what's coming up. So the last episode, I got, as I say, 18 through 22, which was the superstructure, the upper casemate details, and then attaching the front deck and the casemate and the associated details, and then finally the barrel with the travel lock and getting the cable put together. So that concluded all of the construction, and here it is. So just real briefly, I'll talk about it more in the end, the wrap up at the end when I do the slideshow and all that kind of stuff. But I have to say that this was overall, other than the fit issues, which weren't really the kid's fault. I mean, in a way it was, but it was environmental, I think, than the actual kit, because the hull was bowed in on the sides and also pushed in like that, so it was like we had this weird curve thing going, and that kind of screwed up the alignment of the suspension and the wheels and all that, and some of the fit. But you know, in the prior videos I talk all about what I did to fix all that, so if you're interested, you can check those videos out and see what I did to overcome those obstacles. And as another quick note, I built this kit quite a bit differently than I normally do for armor kits. Generally, armor or any type of vehicle kit, I generally like to leave the suspension and tracks off and paint and weather that and the under part of the fender, you know, underneath the fenders on the sides of the hull. I like to paint and weather that before I attach all the running gear. But in this one, because of the fit deals I had to do it this way, and I think it'll be fine. Shouldn't be too hard to paint. And I see a little bit of thing I have to sand there and there. Wow, I just totally missed that. Got the other side, but I didn't do that one. What a slacker. Anyway, I'll take care of that. But now, once I get those sanded, I will be ready to start prepping for primer and paint. There's a few things I need to do before I even get near that kind of stuff. So let me get everything ready, come back, and I'll tell you what's going to go on. All right, so what I need to do first is I need to use Mr. Metal Primer R, and that is for the metal stuff. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep the paint, you know, the primer and paint that I'm going to be using on this, keep it from flaking off quite so easily. So it's just a matter of, it's just a clear liquid. It's kind of viscous, not real thin, but it's not real thick either. See right here, hopefully. It takes a while for a drop to fall off, but it's just a matter of painting it on brushing it on the brass and metal parts. Now, it does look kind of thick, but when it dries smooth and not, you know, all goopy looking, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to do this on camera, because the only thing worse than watching paint dry is watching me paint, because it is boring. So I'm going to go around the whole vehicle doing all the brass and the aluminum and the steel, and get all this put on there so I can go on to the next step. All right, so here it is, primed. So for this, I used, for the first time ever, a lacquer-based paint. It's I guess it's an acrylic lacquer paint for airbrush. MRP, primer red, RAL 8012, German World War II AVs, MRP 033. And I've been wanting to try something like this. I figured this was as good time as any. And here is the result. And I have to say that I really, really liked it. That is some good stuff. So I'm not going to get all into it or anything like that. There's going to be some videos coming in the future about paints, and that's going to be one of them. But anyway, here it is primed. So now all I need to do is start working on the dark yellow, Dunkelgelb. That's the next thing I need to spray. Okay, here is the dark yellow applied, and I used a combination of, I don't know if I've already mentioned this, it's been quite a few days since I shot video, so I forgot what I shot before. XF60 dark yellow and X22 clear, which is a gloss clear, and Mr. Color leveling thinner, and mixed that all together and sprayed it. And the reason I did the X22 is I didn't want a dead flat finish. I like it to be a little more on the eggshell / semi-gloss side. This is more of an eggshell, but it turned out fine. So the next thing I need to do is I need to spray the tracks. And for that, I am going to just use the airbrush, and I am going to cut some masks to cover these wheels so as not to get too much, to get any overspray. I could probably spray them if I got in real tight, but I don't want to, you know, take forever to do it. So I'm going to make some masks, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that here in just a second. Okay, for cutting my mask, I've already cut one sample. I am using my Shadow Hobby thinner line circle cutter. Now this is a really groovy bit of machinery here. It's got a blade, and this whole thing here is on a ring, it's like a precision bearing, needle bearing probably. It may not be needle, I don't know, but very precision bit of kit here, as our British friends say. Right here it's got a scale, it's got a blade, and this is the mechanism that holds the blade. This is the knurled knob where you change your diameter size of what you're wanting to cut. Now in this case I measured, and for this I'm just using a rough cut. I'm not really concerned about, you know, it being exact, because it doesn't have to be. But I measured it, and these wheels measure right at 20 millimeters or 2 centimeters. So on the scale, I just loosen the nut here, and I can slide it back and forth, and I slide it to the 2, which is 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters. Tighten it down, and then just kind of eyeball it like this, and you just turn it around like that. Et voila, you have a nice mask. Now the nice thing about this, I'm going to demonstrate it at some point when I'm doing something that requires it. It also comes with another, it's called a circle cutter locator. It's got kind of a sticky back on it so it doesn't slide easily. And what you can do is you can use it to cut something like roundels. You just put this in place, you back this up against it, and that centers it. You don't move that, change to your next size, put it back in place, cut your next circle so you can cut multiple centered rings, circles, whatever, like roundels on a, an aircraft. So it's kind of a really nice little setup here, and very good and useful purchase. And then I just apply them thusly. Now, if it looks like it's going to be too big, I might trim. No, there, we're good. We're good. I just mainly want to cover it so whenever I spray the track color, it doesn't get on the wheels. Now for these, I'm going to cut an additional hole in the center, and actually I could use that feature, and I think I'm going to do that. So this is, let's call it 8 millimeters. Okay, so let's cut the first one like that. Okay, and then let's reduce this down to 8 millimeters. Like that. Hold that in place. Rest that against there. And let's see what it looks like. Ah, come on. There we go. Boom. See what I'm talking about, people? That is pretty groovy. So then I can simply stick that in place there, like that. And voila. It is covered. Now that part I don't have to worry about because I'm not going to be spraying it from way back here. I'm spraying it up close, so there shouldn't be any overspray. So there you go. That is how it works, and it works out really well. I really like it. Very good purchase. Some may consider it expensive, and I would say yes, it is kind of somewhat expensive, but I think the return on investment is pretty good, especially if you like to paint markings. Save you a little bit on pre-made stencil type stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the circles on there, and then I'll be ready. Okay, I got the tracks painted with the base color. So the next thing I want to do is I want to spray the camouflage pattern. And I'm going with this vehicle right here. I believe it's First Schwerpanzerabteilung 653, Italy, 1944. And this is the color I'm going to use for the green camouflage. Olive green RAL 6003. MRP number 035. So I'm going to use my handy TRN1 trigger sprayer because I can get in really tight. It's easy to control the amount of paint that flows. So let me get cracking on that. Alright, so I've got the camouflage done, and I have to say that so far I'm digging the MRP paints. I'm sure I could do a lot better with more usage, but I'm digging it. So the next thing I need to do is I need to start doing some detail painting. I'm going to do the detail painting, and then I'll get back on the tracks and get those more of the color that I'm looking for. So I'm going to start with the spare tracks first. and got to find a color that is suitable. All right, for my track color on here, I am going to use my Ammo by MIG acrylic color Rust Tracks. And keep in mind there's going to be other stuff put on it to make them look weathered and such. So I'm just going to use my handy dandy paintbrush here. This is one of the reasons I like doing this stuff off of the vehicle, but I really wanted to try and do it all with everything attached for a change. Was it the best decision I've ever made? Maybe not, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to keep painting this one. I'm also going to do the spare tracks on the front. So like I've said before, the only thing worse than watching paint dry is watching me paint something. So I'll come back. Okay, I got the tracks painted. So now I need to paint this here, which is the the muzzle cover. And that was canvas. And from what I've read, it should be a gray color, I believe. But let me double check. Okay, for the muzzle cover, it looks like it was a field gray, or I mean, doesn't seem to be any definitive answer, but field gray, black, all this other kind of stuff. So I'm going to go with dark green, XF61. And the reason I'm doing that is it's a little darker than the field gray by Tamiya. So, and it's the closest thing I've got with the paints I've got right now. And it's going to get some weathering and stuff like that, so I don't think the color really matters that much. So I'm going to whip some of this up real quick, spray that, and come back and take a look at what's going on. All right, and there it is. It is painted. So I think with that, I don't know how long this video is, but I think this is a good stopping point because the painting is done and I can start with weathering. So this is the end of part number 7. Primer, paint, camouflage, detail painting, tracks, etc. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to see more of this build or any of my other builds, hit the subscribe button and you can watch more stuff. So, as always, thank you for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. And until next time, I will see you all later.